Welcome back to part 15 of my 1 to 60 Alliance leveling guide. We are getting close to the finish line. You're probably a chunk over 3 days played now, but we left off at 47, landing in Stormwind. From here on in the guide, we're going to start running into some optional, if you can, then do this sort of quests. Because there are many tasks that will require a group or require the use of an auction house, and it won't be possible at a server launch. I am still going to cover how to do those quests though, for those who are leveling later, as a fresh launch only lasts the first few weeks or two. If you cannot do the tasks, then I will provide milestones for levels and grind spots to offset them, and we should all be on the same page again at around level 53. So whether you level early in the server's lifecycle or late, I got your back, Jack! So when you land in Stormwind, we're going to visit the auction house. We want to check for 3 items that will let us do some quests. If you're rushing to max level at a launch, you probably won't see these items unless someone is hardcore mining or blacksmithing. But as I said, I'd rather show how to do these quests than to just skip them entirely, just in case you can do them. So for the auction house, for the rest of this guide, there are 3 items we should try to buy. 1, we need 2 elixirs of fortitude. We got one for a quest in Dustwallow, but we need a second one for another quest coming up soon. Even as an alchemist though, the recipe is a random world drop from level 30 mobs, so there's a chance you have it, but there's a chance you probably don't have it. Because it drops off of level 30 mobs though, there is also a chance that the recipe has been posted on the auction house, even if you're leveling at a server launch, so definitely check for the potion or the recipe. The second thing we want is a mithril casing. This is for a quest in Ungoro. The chances of this being around early is pretty slim, but look for it anyway. And then the third thing we want are 2 thorium bars. This comes from miners. A miner would need to be level 35 and mine level 50-ish zones to get this, so it's unlikely if you're in the first week of a server launch, but still possible. And this quest isn't extremely required. We are using the thorium bars to get our Skolomance key around level 58. Try to keep an eye out for these items each time you visit an auction house. I'll mention them every time we're in a major city from now on, but we don't need them just yet. Head to the Dwarf District, and in the tavern, turn in the quest in search of the temple and accept the follow-up to the Hinterlands.
What's on your mind?
And that's foreshadowing, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we're going next. Head back to the Flight Master and then fly to South Shore.
Light be with you. For the Alliance.
Good time for a smoke break. I timed the flight, it's exactly 8 minutes and 35 seconds, so you have 8 minutes and 35 seconds to chill. When you land in South Shore, ride northeast over the river and towards the mountains behind Durnhold Keep. When you start seeing some griffins, you will be in the right place. They guard the path through the mountains north into the hinterlands. The path here leads right outside Airy Peak, so follow it and go west inside the Wildhammer Keep. Head into the largest building, the large bunker building, and make a right immediately to talk to Fragger and accept the 2 quests from him. Troll Necklace Bounty and Skulk Rock Cleanup. Then navigate your way through the maze of the building to the innkeeper and set Wildhammer Keep as your Hearthstone location.
How are ya? See you soon.
Then head all the way up Airy Peak near the top and turn into the Hinterlands for the follow-up.
No.
And grab the flight path. Then head to the back of the aviary at the top floor and turn in the quest to the Hinterlands, and from him accept Witherbark Cages and Rhapsody Shing Digger.
Keep your feet on the ground. See you soon.
Then we will be going east out of Airy Peak, but hug the northern mountains. Now, as we're questing here, you should try to find a group to get the Zul'Farrak mallet. For it, you need to kill an elite troll. It's not hard, but you need at least one other person to help you do it. If you can't get the mallet, then you probably won't be able to complete a quest in Zul'Farrak, which we'll try to run in a little bit. But if you are skipping dungeons, then don't worry about this hammer at all anyway. So, out of Airy Peak, head along a trail up the northeastern mountains until you find Shindigger. Turn in Rhapsody Shindigger and accept the follow-up quest, Rhapsody's Kalimdor Cocktail. Then we are ready to start questing. So we have 3 quests to complete in this general area. The first quest is Favorite of Elune, where we need to gather 15 wildkin feathers. The feathers spawn on the ground randomly throughout Hinterlands, mainly on the west side, but they're everywhere. But we should try to complete this quest before we go too far east because the mobs are higher level there. If you spot a feather, just clear the wildlife to get to it. We want to clear excessively in this area anyway, because we won't be in Hinterlands very long and we want to find the OOX beacon, a zone-wide drop similar to the one from Feralas. So until you get it, you should be killing way more than you need to as you move around the zone. The second quest is Troll Necklace Bounty. The Troll Tribal Necklaces drop off of all the trolls we'll be fighting for the Witherbark Cages quest. The quest for the necklaces is repeatable for Wildhammer rep, but only the first turn in gives experience, so try to make sure you get this done at the same time as the Witherbark Cages. And for the Witherbark Cage quest, it wants us to investigate 3 specific cages. 2 of them spawn in Zunwatha to the south, and the third spawns northeast in the ruins around the mountain, Hiriwatha. Clear towards the cages as you work on gathering feathers and troll necklaces. The trolls should mostly be easy for you, just avoid pulling too many and manage the fleeing mechanic to get to the cages. Once you complete Witherbark Cages, we can start heading back to Airy Peak. When you get to Airy Peak, run up back to the Aviary and turn in Witherbark Cages. And accept the follow-up, Altar of Zul. You can also turn in the Troll Necklace Bounty as well while you are in the area, but it doesn't need to be done yet. Then we will head east back out of Airy Peak. This time, as we clear east, we want to finish the quest Favorite of Elune and Troll Necklace Bounty, and we really want that chicken beacon, so kill your way around to get the 2 quests done. If you do get the OOX09HL Distress Beacon, take the quest from it, Find OOX09HL. When the 2 quests are done though, our next first target will be Shadra Allure. The reason we are going into Shadra Allure is to get a quest for Sunken Temple for level 53. Sunken Temple though is a very hard dungeon to get a group for because all of the quests are obscure or long quest chains, so if you are playing at a server launch, I would not even bother trying to do it and don't bother gathering these quests for it. It's barely worth doing it. I almost regret putting it in the guide. We only want to do it as a warrior because the level 50 warrior class quest reward from it is amazing, but there's a chance that won't even be in at the classic launch anyway. So be very skeptical about your potential Sunken Temple run. You can, just in case, head into Shadra Allure, and in the southmost temple on the side of it, you should find an NPC that gives the quest Jamalan the Prophet. Accept it and then run out of Shadra Allure. Then next up we want to head east to the Altar of Zul. Now atop this altar is Kuyagi the Keeper, a level 50 elite who pulls with another elite, Mortiaga the Keeper. For the quest the Altar of Zul, all we have to do is run to the top to get quest credit and then we can run back down. But if you want the mallet for our Zul'Farrak run later, you need to find someone to help you kill Kuyagi who drops the mallet. If you can't get help to get this mallet, you'll just have to skip this part and ultimately skip a Zul'Farrak quest if you do Zul'Farrak unless someone else in your group has this mallet. And this will ultimately make you miss out on the carrot on a stick. Honestly though, this doesn't affect your leveling speed. This is more of just a nice thing to get done while we were in these areas. You can always come back and do these when you're level 60. When you complete the Altar of Zul quest, our next target will be northeast of here in the Creeping Ruins. Around these ruins and the Skulk rock in the north, you'll start finding these sludges and oozes. We need to kill 10 green sludges and 10 jade oozes to complete the quest Skulk rock cleanup. The oozes are pretty easy, it just takes a bit of time to kill them because they're our level and Whirlwind Axe isn't really OP anymore. Kill the sludges around the ruins and on the hill above the ruins until you get the 20 you need. Now hopefully you got the OOX beacon by now. If you didn't, that sucks, but it's not the end of the world. You'll just have to skip this next step and head to the coast right now. But we're going to start talking about the 3 chicken escorts. In Hinterlands, Tanaris, and Feralas, there are zone-wide beacon drops. Each beacon gives a quest that sends you to a chicken. When you turn in the beacon, you get a long escort quest to take the chicken to the coast in that zone. These escorts are not only pretty damn long, but they're also very hard to solo. So let me state this clearly, it is not worth doing them unless you can do all 3. The reason is because if you complete all 3, you get a huge bonus quest that gives massive amounts of experience that makes it worth it. But if you are not confident you can solo all 3, then do not bother trying to do any of them. They are extremely long, each escort is about 10 to 20 minutes, and if you die, that time is completely wasted. That being said, we will be covering how to do them in this guide because warriors do have a method of soloing them. So with the OOX beacon, make your way to the robot chicken in the hinterlands. He spawns on a small island north of where we are killing the slimes. If he's not there, grind out until he respawns, and we'll also need Retaliate for this quest, so grind out until Retaliate is off cooldown also. Talk to the chicken on the small island and turn in Find OOX 09HL for free experience. And then, if you want to try the escorts, accept the follow-up Rescue OOX 09HL. So for this escort, the chicken will function as a typical brainless NPC. It will not attack anything unless it is attacked first, so always let it lead the charge. This chicken escort in particular finishes on the Hinterlands coast, which is a long way to go. It's about a 13-minute walk, but once it makes it to the road, most of the escort just consists of walking. There are 2 points, however, where we will be ambushed by 3 mobs. First a set of 3 wildkin, and then a set of 3 trolls. We have 2 ways to handle this. Unfortunately, I cannot test or show you how to do this because this quest is bugged on the private servers. So listen carefully. The first method is to skip the encounters. We can do this because the chicken shouldn't aggro anything until the chicken is attacked. So the moment the mobs spawn, if we charge into them before they hit the chicken, we can keep the chicken from stopping and fighting them, and instead we can just hamstring all 3 mobs and then kite and leash them while staying close enough to the chicken to not fail the quest. Pair this with Intimidating Shout and you should be able to just avoid fighting the mobs altogether and keep the escort going, because once the chicken walks by and they reset, the chicken doesn't give a shit about them. If the chicken does happen to get in combat, your best bet is to let the chicken tank 1 for as long as possible and then kill the other 2 quickly, use Intimidating Shout, and try to save Retaliate for the second ambush as they are harder, and you should be alright as long as you watch the chicken's HP and bandage in between the kills, or kite if you need to. As you approach the shore, you should also be mindful of an elite troll that patrols near the chicken's walking path. If it aggroes the chicken and puts it in combat, you are pretty much fucked. So if this patrol does get close to the chicken, make sure you aggro the elite before it aggroes the chicken so you can hamstring kite the elite and reset it out of combat so that the chicken doesn't stop and try and fight it. All in all, from what I recall from vanilla WoW, the easiest way to deal with all of these chicken escorts as a warrior is to just constantly charge and leash each ambush and avoid fighting them altogether. If all goes well, you should safely get the chicken to the shore after a 13-minute long escort. If you fail, don't bother trying it again, just skip it. They are borderline wastes of time unless you get them all done on the first try. Mostly just do them if you really want the robot chicken pet reward you get for finishing all 3. The good news is though, the escort stops right where we wanted to go next, the overlooked cliffs. We have 3 quests we need to do here. The first is to gather the port bottles scattered around the shore for Whiskey Slim's Lost Grog. We need 12 and they're kinda hard to see. I usually have to turn down my foliage graphics to find them faster. Just graze your mouse around and keep an eye out for the icon to change and loot all of them that you can find. Secondly, we need to take a picture of Gamarita for the quest Super Snapper FX. Gamarita is an elite turtle that patrols the shore here. When you find her, go max range and then use the camera quest item on her. Be sure to be as far as possible away from her because once you take the picture she will aggro you, but our quest will complete so we only need to leash and reset her. Lastly, we have the final step for Cortello's riddle under the waterfall to the north. So while you're gathering the port, run north until the land ends and then dive into the water, turn in the quest for a beautiful new 14-slot bag. Once you've finished all 3 of these quests, we have one more optional task to do here. If you have the mallet from the elites, Kuyagi, and you plan on doing Zul'Farrak, follow this next step. Otherwise you can hearth now and skip this next part. So the sacred mallet is useless as it is. It needs to be empowered first at the top of Jinta Allure. To do this, what we have to do sucks massively. We basically have to corpse hop our way up there. It's going to take us about 10 minutes. Because Jinta Allure is filled with elites. Even if you have a group, it's probably quicker just to corpse run up to the altar. Jinta Allure has several levels, and each level has a staircase up to the next level on the opposite end, but since we're corpse hopping, we only need to run up a staircase and then die against the wall, then res at the next level above in a safe spot, then mount up and then try to run up the next staircase and die against the next wall. If you do this well, you should make it to the altar in 2 to 3 deaths, about 10 minutes of corpse hopping. When you res safely near the altar, quickly use the mallet without aggroing a nearby wolf. If you do, just use CC to get the mallet of Zul'Farrak, then you can die and spirit res, and then hearth, or just hearth if you don't die. This definitely slows down your leveling speed, but having this mallet basically makes you a hero to every Zul'Farrak group you join, as you now have the power to summon a quest mob that everyone will love you for. Back in Airy Peak, turn in Troll Necklace Bounty and Skulk Rock Cleanup inside the bunker.
Talk to me. Watch your back.
Then head on up to the top of Airy Peak inside the Aviary. Turn in Altar of Aman'Zul and accept the quest Thaddeus Grimshade. Then we will be flying to Menethil Harbor.
How are ya?
When you land in Menethil, get on the northern boat to Aberdeen in Darkshore. In Darkshore, take the shortcut off the boat to the Flight Master, and then we will fly to Ruttheran village in Teldrassil. In Ruttheran, go into the single building and turn in Favorite of a Loon. And then go upstairs and turn in the Super Snapper FX and accept the follow-up quest Return to Troyas. Now at this point in the guide, I will be respeccing back to Fury. We're about to get some decent one-handed rewards and start a chain of dungeon runs, so you can put it off longer if you don't mind the Whirlwind Axe and want to hold out for a two-handed weapon upgrade. I realize that this respec may not be optimal and a lot of people will disagree with it, so you can copy me or stay arms if you like, depending on preference. Respec or not, clear up your bags, and then we will fly to Feathermoon Stronghold in Feralas. It's a good old 9-minute flight. When you land, take the quest Improved Quality from Pratt McGrubbin under the Night Elf Gazebo.
You need something?
Then turn in Return to Troyas and accept the follow-up, the Stave of Equinix, and nearby take the quest The Sunken Temple. And don't forget to stop by the Alchemy Trainer and train, or try to buy some limited supply potions while you're here. Then we will head to Feralas. You can take the boat or swim. Right as you get to the shore of the Forgotten Coast, next to the pier, talk to the Zorbin and take his two quests, Zapped Giants and Fuel for Zapping.
Yo. Glad I could help. I got you.
This is a 2-star quest that honestly sucks bad to do in a group, but we want the one-handed sword reward. We want to go up and down the coast killing water elementals to get the 10 cores for Fuel for Zapping, and we need to use the Zapper on Sea Giants and then loot them for 15 residue. The water elementals are a pain to kill because they're immune to bleeds. Luckily, Fury doesn't rely on bleeds that much, so get into the habit now of using Death Wish instead of Sweeping Strikes. We can't double pull here anyway. Aside from that though, your playstyle doesn't change much with the new spec at this time. Focus on the giants as a priority though. If you're having trouble finding the sea striders and the shore giants, you can also use the zapper on the mountain giants that are up the coast north a bit. But it's better to try and get them all done here if you can, unless it's overcrowded. Even though the zapper will stop the giants from being elite, they still hit really damn hard, so be sure to demo shout them. We can't really hamstring kite them effectively because of how big their hitboxes are, so it's great to have Bloodthirst to help offset the incoming damage a bit. A noticeable difference between the two playstyles of Arms and Fury is that Fury wants to take damage. You get more rage from taking more hits, and supposedly Fury talents offset this with its health regen abilities like Blood Craze, and Blood Craze increases the value of stamina and Demo Shout. Mobs that hit less hard and then crit you end up healing you more than the damage they dealt, and the heal is based off of your max HP, so all those food stamp buffs that you've got stockpiled increase in value. Don't be shy about running over a wide area here though to complete these two quests. It can take a while.
I can't do that. Not ready yet. That ability isn't ready yet. That ability isn't ready yet. Not ready yet. I can't do that.
Once you get them done though, go back to Zorbin. You should get Zorbin's Mega Slicer from one of these goblins quests. It's a really nice one-handed sword that can go in the main hand or offhand. You should still have the Blackwater Hammer we picked up in Arathi, so I'll start out by using these two and start leveling my one-handed weapon skills now, and then replace them with Thrash Blade or any dungeon drops, or swap to a two-handed Fury if a good two-hander drops. Either way, we are going to be heading north on the road up the coast. So go off the coast and follow it north until you get away into the wilderness on the eastern side of the road. In the wilderness here, we want to make our way to the Yeti Cave, hidden in the east up in the mountains. But on the way there, we also want to get 3 Iron Fur livers from the bears and 3 Grodok livers from the gorillas for the quest Rhapsody's Kalimdor Cocktail. You can find the bears and the gorillas in a lot of places, so we're not in a huge priority to get it done right away, but the drop rate on the livers can be iffy, so it's best to start right now. When you do get to the trail up the mountains with the Yeti, we're going to start killing them and clearing your way through them. These Yeti have various types. The deadlier ones, of course, are further into the cave. At this point, Whirlwind Axe has kind of fallen off, and the game sort of expects warriors to be wearing full plate. Because we've been leveling quickly though, our gear is a bit behind. It's still manageable though, especially with alchemy buffs, so hang in there guys. Kill these Yeti one by one. To get the 10 Rage Scar Yeti hides, we need to complete the quest Improved Quality. In addition though, these Yeti have a random quest starting item that they can drop, a Pristine Yeti hide. We want to get this just for the hell of it, even though this quest from the Pristine Yeti hide doesn't reward experience. We're not really adverse to grinding, so I would say you should keep grinding here until you get the Pristine hide or you ding 48. If you ding 48 and still don't have the hide, just skip it. Then head back west towards the road to kill more bears and gorillas and try to finish up Kalimdor Cocktail livers. When you get back to the road, ride north towards the Twin Colossals. Just as you get to the Western Colossal, run west off the road around the southern side of it into the wilderness. You should eventually find a big stone giant named Rockbiter. Talk to him and take the quest to the Giant Guardian. Then ride north through the wilderness again until you arrive at the ruins of Ravenwind. Here we want to do 2 quests, but one is an escort that leads out of this area, so we will do it last and first focus on the Staff of Equinox. The Staff of Equinox wants us to loot 4 essences hidden around the ruins and the Harpy. The Harpies are easy to manage one-on-one. 2 are also okay if you are close to full HP. Just move cautiously through them, and our first target will be the western side of the ruins. Clear up the hill into the ruins and you should find a Night Elf gazebo. In it, loot the built-in essence, and then go out of the ruins and head back east. You then should eventually find a giant ruined structure, like a tower. It's the biggest building in these ruins. On top of it is the next essence we need, but we have to do a little bit of parkour from the north side to get to it. So start by clearing to the north side of the structure. Then use the white stones to get on top of the ruins. And try not to suck at Super Mario. Then at the top, loot the Samha essence. And the third essence is really close by. Just go north off the ruined tower and up the hill and you should find the Flame of Imbil surrounded by stones. And the last flame is far west, so clear along the mountains westward. You will find the quest turn in for the Stone Guardian up the structures in the north, but don't turn it in yet. We're going to clear past it westward for now. A little bit southwest of it, you should find a ruined Night Elf gazebo with the final essence. Clear to it and loot it. Then, the last step is to turn it in, just south of the cliff from the Lhasa essence that we just got. The area down the cliff is filled with North Spring Windcaller Harpies. They are level 50-ish and are casters. They are easily the deadliest of the Harpies, so don't aggro more than one or they'll just spam lightning bolts on you. Find an easy path to get to the large monolith down the cliff. When you get close enough to the monolith, use Troya's staff to combine it with the essences, then interact with the monolith and turn in the Stave of Equinox and take the follow-up quest, the Marrow Stone. And now we're ready to do the escort. East a bit of the monolith, you'll find a road up the mountains again. We want to use this path to get out of the ruins and escort our NPC, so clear all the harpies on it now as you make your way back up north towards the mountains to the escort NPC. Once it's clear, navigate up the ruined structure and turn in the quests the Giant Guardian and accept the follow-up Wandering Shay. This escort is similar to the Curlonian escort from level 21 at Darkshore. We are given a quest item, Shay's Bell, which we need to use anytime Shay gets distracted to keep her following us. Watch the chat log for her speech to know when you need to turn and target her with the bell and use it to keep moving. It's a timed quest where we need to get back to the giant to the south where we accepted the first quest. If the path up the mountain is cleared, it's relatively easy to get out of the ruins of Ravenwind. Maybe a few harpies stand in your way, but 15 minutes is plenty of time. Clear your way through the wildlife and avoid as many fights as possible, and you should be able to get back to the giant with plenty of time to spare. turn in Wandering Shay once it's complete for some beautiful plate gauntlets with 15 strength, and then we can start heading back to the road. At this time you'll start to notice items are itemized towards certain stats, and stats are important if we want to tank any dungeons. While these gloves are great for damage, they have a lot of strength, they lack stamina or agi for tanking. It's for this reason that you should start working on a tanking set in your bags. Keep a shield and always keep any plate pieces you get with good tanking stats around, as it's likely you'll be wearing a few pieces of mail or leather in your DPS set. When you get back to the road though, start running south. You should probably start looking for a group to do the Feralas chicken escort. The Feralas one is the most difficult, and this is our chance to get it done. If you can't get a group, the only way it's possible to solo is if you use the hamstring cheese method, which I can't confirm will work because I can't use it on private servers. Unfortunately, the escorts don't function correctly on private servers. Definitely try it if you did the Hinterlands chicken quest though, as luckily the Feralas escort, even though it's the hardest one, is also the shortest one. With or without a group though, we want to make our way south following the road, and then once it curves east, we will follow it east deep back into Feralas towards the Grim Totem camps. Our target are the two night elves on the ridge that overlook the Grim Totem camp, the ones that we talked to for the quest Rescue the Sprite Darters Freedom for All Creatures. They should have a new quest for us now, so we're gonna go get it. When you reach them, accept the quest An Orphan Looking for a New Home. Then head back towards the Yeti Cave to the west. When you get to the Yeti Cave, clear a large area around the northern outside of this cave. Then clear into the cave towards the chicken. You can grind here a bit if the chicken isn't up. If it's there, then accept the escort quest. This escort has 3 encounters. The first encounter is hard because it's a set of 3 yetis right outside the cave. If you haven't cleared around this area, then you'll get some ads while fighting them, so it's important that you keep it clear beforehand. If the yeti don't aggro the chicken in combat right away, I recommend you aggro the yeti and hamstring and leash all of them so the chicken can just mosey on past them. But we can win these fights, technically. If you are in a group, it's easy. If you are alone, like before, let the chicken tank one and try to kill the other 2, bandage, and then pull off the chicken before it dies. Utilize Intimidating Shout if you need to, but don't use Retaliate yet. We need that for the last ambush. After the 3 Yeti, when you get on the road, the next ambush will be 3 gorillas around the bend. Same tactic here, kill 2 and let the chicken tank 1, and don't be shy about using hamstring or piercing howl to kite them while you're doing this. Just as the road begins to get close to the ramp that leads down to the coast, you'll be ambushed by 4 gnolls, one of which is a caster. If you are not cheesing these by kite leashing them, make sure you would re-equip your whirlwind axe before you charge in on the caster and get aggro on all 3. Then pop Retaliate once you have aggro on all of them, and use Demo Shout and have a potion ready. Once the caster's dead, you can use Piercing Howl and let the chicken help you finish the other ones off. It's extremely hard to solo, but definitely doable, and keep in mind that Retaliate tactic we just used. Even if you are dual wielding, anytime you plan on popping Retaliate, make sure you swap to a 2-handed weapon or the slowest weapon you have for high top end damage. Once the chicken makes it back to the pier and the coast, the quest will complete and will be done here in Feralas. So take the boat or swim back to Feathermoon Stronghold. In Feathermoon, turn in the quest The Morrowstone in the southeast house. Then outside the inn, turn in improved quality and pristine Yeti hide.
Looking for something specific? Safe travel.
With those done, you should be level 48 now, or very close. If you are not 48, you should grind around here until you ding, and then we will fly to Theramore Isle. When you land in Theramore, go into the tavern and set Theramore as your Hearthstone location.
Safe travels.
Remember to train first aid here too if you are 240, 260, or 290. In my case, I finally got 260, so I unlocked the Runecloth bandages. Then we will fly to Ratchet.
How are you? See you soon.
And then take the boat to Booty Bay. In Booty Bay, turn in the 2 chicken escorts if you have them done, and turn in Whiskey Slim's Lost Grog.
Hey, daylight's burning. My, you're a tall one.
Then fly to Netherguard Keep. When you land, go northeast and turn in supplies to Netherguard.
What can I do for you?
And then go into the tower and turn in Thaddeus Grimshade and accept the follow-up Necrum's Medallion. Then fly to Stormwind, where we will be training our level 48 skills and visit the auction house.
You need something? Be careful.
As a warrior, if you're training here in Stormwind, try to catch up a bit on any tanking abilities you haven't been training, as you plan on tanking Zul'Farrak soon. As for the AH, this is our last chance to buy the missing Elixirs of Fortification, or the recipe if you're an alchemist. Then we will hearth back to Theramore Isle. In Theramore, we will then fly to Gadgetzan. As you fly, for realsies, start looking for a Zul'Farrak group. You should be okay taking players at around level 43-ish if you're desperate, but try to keep all your party members above or around level 44. When you land in Gadgetzan, start by rounding up the quests by doing a nice circle around Gadgetzan counterclockwise. Grab Troll Temper from Trenton by the Forge, then Thirsty Goblin from Noggenfogger, then talk to Chief Engineer for the quest Divinomatic Rod. Then behind the buildings, grab the Dunmal compound from the Gnome. Then go to the machine next to Kurgle Cranklehopp. If you have the Hippogriff egg still from Feralas, turn it in to the Eggomatic to get an egg. Depending on the type you get, talk to Kurgle and turn it in for a package. The package can get some really good loot depending on the rarity. I got lucky with a one-handed mace drop, which is a good thing because the rest of this leveling guide I don't get shit for loot. Also accept from Kurgle the quest Handle with Care. On the west side of Gadgetzan, up on the hill, talk to Senior Surveyor and take the quest Gadgetzan Water Survey.
Talk to me.
Then talk to Tranrek for the quest Scarab Shells and Thistle Shrub Valley. Don't take the quest Super Sticky at this time.
Money, friend. Hurry back.
If you are missing the quest Gazrilla, but you have the Zul'Farrak mallet, go north into the Shimmering Flats and get it. And if you don't have the quest Prophecy of Masharu, then stop by Steam Weedle and grab that. Otherwise, you have all the Zul'Farrak quests in your quest log, so whenever you get a group for it, click the link in the video description for the video guide. Otherwise, we will continue with this leveling guide through Tanaris. Start by running west towards Sand Sorrow Watch, just south of Zul'Farrak. Our target is the pool of water around the troll camp. As you run there though, start killing any rocks you see for their gizzards to complete Rhapsody's Kalimdor cocktail. Make sure you get this done now so you don't have to worry about killing the rocks for the rest of this Tanaris cycle. When you get to the water, use the untapped dowsing widget near the water to complete the quest Gadgetzan Water Survey. When you do this though, be aware that 2 Silithids will spawn and attack you. I wouldn't bother killing them because they don't give experience, so just hamstring them and reset them unless you hate bugs.
That ability isn't ready yet. That ability isn't ready.
Then run back to Gadgetzan and make sure you've finished getting the rock gizzards on your way. Keep an eye out for Fire Bloom also, which will allow us to make tasty immolation potions for AoE and stuff.
That ability isn't ready yet.
Back in Gadgetzan, just turn in the Gadgetzan Water Survey for the follow-up Noxious Lair investigation. Then we will go straight south out of Gadgetzan into the desert. Our destination is the Broken Pillar. It's tricky to find, it's kind of right in the middle of Tanaris. It's just on the side of a hill, it's a few ruined walls. When you get there, talk to the goblin Marvin and turn in the Sunken Temple and accept the 2 quests, the Stone Circle and Gazridian. Then we will ride west towards the edge of Tanaris. When you reach the Noxious Lair to the west, start killing the Silithid here for Centipart insect parts to complete Noxious Lair investigation. As you kill these Silithid, know that not all bugs are created equal. We can handle any type of these, but the swarmers are a bit annoying, so I'd avoid them if possible. Also keep in mind that if you chain pull the stingers, they keep stacking a poison debuff on you that stacks between the different types of stingers. So give the poison debuff time to reset between pulls or you'll be taking a lot of damage. The drop rate for these parts is about 33%, so you may need to kill quite a few before you get it done. Once it's complete, if you are following this guide as a dual wielder, we're going to go get our Venomhide poison on our weapons. To do this, go west to the edge of Tanaris overlooking Ungoro. If you're not doing this, you can already start heading south towards the Thistle Shrub Valley and skip this step. Get just north outside the Noxious Lair and you should find a path you can use to jump down into Ungoro without dying. There are more than one way down, but if you aren't confident, just follow my path exactly and refill your HP after every drop. Once you're safely in Ungoro, mount up and ride west out of the mountains. Follow the rivers here towards the north a bit and cross the rivers and you should start seeing some Venomhide Ravasaurs. Engage a Ravasaur that has a debuff on it that looks like a poison icon. This means he's working and will be able to poison our weapons. And once we start fighting him, he should occasionally proc his attack, which will apply the poison to our main hand weapon. Because he only applies it to the main hand weapon and we want it in our offhand, during the fight you'll have to swap your weapons around to try and make sure the poison gets on your offhand weapon as well by unequipping your main hand or swapping which weapon slot is in which weapon slot. Once you get both your dual wield weapons poisoned, that's all we came here for, so we will ride straight south out of Ungoro until you get back to Tanaris. and then continue south until you reach Thistle Shrub Valley and rejoin with the other people following this guide. I've got some bad news though. We've got to kill elementals that are just immune to this poison and bleed, so we don't even get to test it out yet. In Thistle Shrub Valley, we have 2 quests to complete. Firstly, the Thirsty Goblin wants a laden dew gland from the dew collectors. The drop rate is extremely low on this, but there are tons of dew collectors, so start grinding on them. It can take you 1 kill, it can take you 50. Hopefully it doesn't take you 50 though, because these elementals suck ass to kill for warriors. The other quest, Thistle Shrub Valley, wants us to kill 8 of the other types, the root shapers and the gnarled thistle shrubs. Honestly, there isn't much to say. They entangle, they drop rooting totems that you should kill. These things aren't particularly deadly, they just die really slow because of their immunities. Expect to be stuck here grinding for a little bit until you can complete both of these quests. And there is a turtle escort on the south side of Thistle Shrub Valley, but we will not be doing it in this guide. If you end up skipping Zul'Farrak, you may consider doing it as a way to lessen the amount of mobs you need to grind, but the turtle's a pain in the ass. He wants you to escort him all the way to Steamweedle Port, and it's a timed quest. Once you finish Thistle Shrub Valley and the Thirsty Goblin, head east out of the valley and southward towards the mountains. You should eventually find the South Moon Ruins. We need to kill some of the ogres here for the Dune Mall compound quest, but more importantly, we need Gazridian ornaments for the quest Gazridian. While technically these spawn all over Tanaris, they are most condensed here. The ornaments appear as little mounds of sand. You should have a quest helmet you can put on to help you put blips on the minimap that tells you where they are, so use it to clear around these ruins and loot the ornaments. Just don't forget to take the helmet off and put your real helmet back on. We need 30 of these ornaments, and it's quite a lot, so you'll probably be stuck in these ruins doing laps around for quite a while. Once you've finished with Gazridian though, we'll go north from here to finish the quest the Dune Mall compound. Directly north of the South Moon Ruins, you should find a cave in a small mountain around a large ogre camp called the Dune Mall compound. We want to finish killing the enforcers and brutes we need around here, but more importantly, we need to kill the named ogre, Mauradon the Ravager, who resides in the cave. Mauradon definitely needs to be solo pulled. He hits very hard, so be wary of the ogre that patrols in and out of his cave. Make sure you kill it or avoid it when you go to fight Mauradon. Because he hits so hard, make sure you start the pull with full HP and utilize your full kit if needed. Use Disarm, it really hampers his damage, or Inch Shout if you need to. Once he's dead, finish off the enforcers and brutes around the camp. Then we will head northeast back to Gadgetzan. You can also commit suicide here if you'd like, it's a bit faster, but the spirit res timer might interfere with the next quest. When you get to Gadgetzan, turn in the Thirsty Goblin for In Good Taste, and then turn that in nearby to Sprinkle and accept Sprinkle's secret ingredient. Turn in Noxious Lair Investigation. This will open the quest from the goblin on the hill nearby, the Scrimshank Redemption, so accept that. Then talk to Tran Rek and turn in the quest Thistle Shrub Valley.
Time is money, friend. Hurry back.
and go to the gnome behind the house and turn in the Dune Mall compound. Clear up your bags and then we will ride south back out of Gadgetzan.
Do I have a deal for you?
We will be doing the Tanaris chicken escort soon, so save your retaliate, but start by making your way south towards the broken pillar. When you get there, turn in the quest Gazridian,
Keep it real.
then continue riding to southeastern Tanaris, and when you reach the Gaping Chasm, make your way into the Hive. There are multiple entrances to the Gaping Chasm's Hive, and the Hive is huge, so we will be going for the entrance closest to the quest objective for the Scrimshank Redemption. Find the spiral into the Hive on the east side and clear to it. Don't try to train these Silithid, just calmly kill your way into the Hive. They hit hard, but we can handle 2 at a time if you are careful. I recommend avoiding the Swarmers completely here though. Note that every Hazali Silithid here you kill will spawn 2 Hazali parasites on death. They die in 1 hit, but always have Whirlwind ready for them, especially on pulls where you have multiple Silithid. When you climb down the spiral, there are 2 entrances to the Hive. We want to enter through the northernmost cavern, not the southern one. Clear through the Silithid and take the right at the first bend in the cave into the oval-shaped room. Then clear through one side of the room to get out on the south side. Then in the next cavern, take another right and keep killing them. And this should lead you into a large room in the Hive, and our target for the quest, the Scrimshank Redemption, is a machine on the northwestern alcove of this room. So clear your way through the Silithid until you can get to it. Loot Scrimshank surveying gear, and then head back out of the Hive the same way you came. If you are fast, you should be able to get out with minimal respawns behind you. Once you get outside the Hive, ride east towards the mountains as you head north out of the Hive. If you got the Tanaris 00X beacon, turn it in to the chicken that should be up here in the mountains, and we will be doing that escort now. But we need retaliate if you're planning on killing your way through this quest. This one is easier than the Feralas one, but it's long as hell. Only do this if you did the other 2. Once you've turned in the beacon, accept Rescue 00X17TN. I will edit this escort a bit here. I had to do this at a different point in the guide because the chicken bugged and wouldn't respawn. I waited over 40 minutes grinding Silithid. Freaking private service, man. Anyway, the trick with this escort is that the hardest fight is the first one, where you'll get 3 scorpions just outside the Caverns of Time. You should preemptively keep your rage bar full, and when the 3 Scorpid Dune Burrows come at you, either kite leash them or pull 2 off the robot and pop retaliate, or try to take all 3. Don't be shy about blowing all your cooldowns here, as the second ambush in this escort is of Lobby easy mobs. When you manage to kill the 3 scorpions and keep the chicken alive, the rest of this escort is basically a test of your patience, you see, because the chicken wants to RP walk all the way to Steam Weedle. So protect him from the wildlife as he waddles up north. And I timed it, the entire escort takes a whopping 22 minutes. It's painfully slow, but if you factor in the grinding you do during the quest, then it's not that bad. Especially as this means you'll have all 3 chicken escorts done. The second ambush will occur on Wavestrider Beach. It's of 3 Waste Wanders. One is a caster, so focus it down and use Intimidating Shout on the other 2, or let the chicken tank one. and you should be hunky-dunky. These guys shouldn't pose a threat to you. When the quest completes, ride back to Gadgetzan. In Gadgetzan, turn in the Scrimshank Redemption and accept insect part analysis. Then turn that in inside to the Alchemist for the follow-up. And turn that in as well to accept the quest Rise of the Silithid. Now before we do the last quest in Tanaris, we need to be level 49. If you are not 49, it probably means you didn't do Zul'Farrak, so you will need to grind on something. You can grind on the Pirates, the Waste Wanderers, the Ogres, something. Just make sure you hit 49 to keep up with this guide. Next, we will need those 2 Elixirs of Fortification I told you to try and buy. If you haven't gotten them, you can still do this next part for a bit of experience though. Bring the Elixirs with you and ride north into the Shimmering Flats. On the north side of the Mirage Raceway, talk to Quentin and turn in an orphan looking for a new home. The follow-up quest, A Short Incubation, asks for the 2 Elixirs of Fortification. Turn them in, then accept the next quest, the newest member of the family. Then we will be hearthing back to Theramore Isle. In Theramore, if you don't have the quest Shadow Shard Fragments for Mauradon, head up to the main tower in the middle and grab it from Turvosh now. This is also the ideal time to turn in Tiara of the Deep if you did do Zul'Farrak, so swim west through Dustwallow Bay up to Beazle's crash site. Then ride to Tabitha's house in the swamp to turn it in. Then go straight back to Theramore.
King's honor, friend.
Where we go next has a lot of ifs and buts. Let me explain our reasoning. First, if you did Zul'Farrak, we want to stop by Blasted Lands to turn in Necrum's Medallion for the follow-up quest, as it sends us to Airy Peak. Then we will fly to Airy Peak from there. If you didn't do Zul'Farrak, you can ditch the Necrum's Medallion quest, take the Theramore boat to Menethil, and then fly to Airy Peak with or without the Fortification Potion quest. So those of you 100% with me in the guide that did Zul'Farrak, we will fly to Ratchet, then take the boat to Booty Bay, and in Booty Bay you can turn in the chicken quests if you did them, then fly to Blasted Lands.
Talk to me. Okay, good.
Turn in Necrum's Medallion and accept the follow-up, the Divination.
Here there.
Then wait a few seconds and turn it in as well, and then accept Return to the Hinterlands. Then take the long flight to Airy Peak. It's a 12-minute flight, so Netflix and chill, boys. When you get to Airy Peak, go to the Aviary to turn in Return to the Hinterlands for 2100 experience, so that whole bunch of quests ended up giving us nearly 10k XP. It's a bit of payoff for the annoying travel we had to do. You don't need to take the follow-up Saving Shark Beak though, we will not be doing that. Next, if you have the timed quest from Shimmering Flats, go into the Wildhammer Keep and go to the lower levels and turn it in and accept the quest Food for Baby. Then we will head east out of Airy Peak and follow the northern mountains up the ramp until you find Shindigger's camp again. Turn in Rhapsody's Kalimdor Cocktail and accept the follow-up Rhapsody's Tale. Then ride to Eastern Hinterlands if you have the quest Food for Baby, otherwise skip this next step. We want to go just east of Skulk Rock in the wilderness, and you should start finding a bunch of Silvermane stalkers. The wolves spawn stealth, so they're a bit of a pain to find, and from them we need 5 Silvermane stalker flanks to complete the quest Food for Baby. Use the human perception racial if you have it to find them, and get the flanks you need. They hit kinda hard, so try not to pull too many at a time.
That ability isn't ready yet. That ability isn't ready yet.
Once it's done, we are going to ride west and south. We want to reach Valorwind Lake. It's a small body of water just outside Shadra Allure and the Altar of Zul. Swim in the lake and loot a violet dragon for Sprinkle's secret ingredient, but do not eat the mushroom. Please. I know it looks tasty, don't eat it. Then go back west to Airy Peak. Turn in the quest Food for Baby inside the Wildhammer Keep if you did it, and also take and complete the follow-up quest Becoming a Parent. Congratulations, you have a baby sprite darter pet. Woohoo!
Got my attention.
Then clear up your bags, where we will be flying to Thorium Point in Searing Gorge, and that's where we'll leave off in this part of the guide. We'll pick it up again in part 16 at level 49 and get started with Searing Gorge, but until then, I am booping out. Boop.